here. My food just came just in time, so I took a little bite of this carbs. Here we are, the whole game back together again. Maybe I am open somewhere else. I'm gonna go live on the IGs. I do hear that. Maybe I gotta be live. I mean, somewhere else. That's weird. Oh well, we're gonna make it do what it do because that's what we do. This is REI Deals. I am Courtney Rollins. I am with the Aqua Team. I am CEO of Aqua Team Properties and do REI Deals Club, where we show better than tell. Aqua Team Properties, what do? We help people solve problems and create opportunities for income and wealth, primarily through real estate. And our main form of doing that is finding and sourcing deals, locking them up at discounted prices, solving and helping the seller out with their issue. And then what we do from that is really up to us, and it can be up to you if you decide to go this route. If you're watching on YouTube or Instagram, or maybe thinking about what is this wholesaling game? How do I build income without having maybe a large stacks of money somewhere? Or how do I build a system that allows me to source deals and be able to do whatever I want with the investment properties? Because I know and you know that real estate is one of the primary forms of being able to generate wealth and generate a large amount of income at the same time. And so when we do lock these deals up, quite often, we'll majority of the time wholesale them. Big Daddy's Conglomerate, what's up, Chris? I can't wait to check out your food, man, later on. But yeah, and so when we actually are able to wholesale, that means we take the contract, we have the right to these contracts, and we sell our rights to the contract to another investor, providing an opportunity for them to generate income and wealth. Now, we know that when we're talking to folks, we're having these quality conversations, that's the only way that we're going to be able to provide service and actually lock up these deals at a discounted price and help out the seller and eventually help out the buyer and help our bottom line out. And so every day, we dedicate time and time to personal development. And every Thursday, we dedicate a bit of time to sales training so that we can go over different aspects of the sales process. Selling, whether you're a big extrovert like me, or perhaps you're like introverted at all, it doesn't matter. It is a competency that you can learn and that we can learn. And that's why we come out here and we just show people how we do it. And we love feedback and all that good stuff. So let me hush up and introduce folks on the team and ask them to say hello to you all and see how they're doing. We'll start off with my man B. What's up, Brian, the acquisition manager? Why don't you, I'm gonna let people know real quick what you do with the Aqua Team. What's up, Brian? How's it going, man?
Okay, man, I'm doing great. So like Courtney mentioned, I am one of the acquisition managers. So I am reaching out to potential sellers and trying to figure out what their motivation is, what the condition of the property, what their timeline is, and trying to build some rapport so that I can hopefully get that property over to Courtney to get under contract.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate it. Let's go to Q Sav. Quentin Brown, how you doing, man? Let them know who you are, what you do.
Good. I'm Quentin. My role is basically prospect to take prospects and cold call them. I do about 250 calls a day, and what I do, I qualify the leads and then send them over to the next phase so that people can either from whatever they want, either put them on the list so that they don't want to buy a house, put them on the list that they want to buy a house, and then move on from the next steps from there.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. And Double T, the newest, and we found out the youngest member, and she's of the Aqua Team. What's up, Talima? Let them know who you are in your role, please.
Hi, I'm Talima. I'm an intern, so basically I just drive around and I look for properties that are in need of help or just look not too good, and then I tag them and then it goes off to the other people that call.
Awesome. And if I can borrow from Keith Murray, the most beautifulest, my first love, what do you do with the Aqua Team? Miss Cleo, you gotta unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm learning how to use it, use the different techniques on Zoom. Is one thing, but I take in all the calls that come in from people who are interested in maybe potentially buying or doing deals with the Aqua team. So I like to call myself the receptionist. I take the calls, and so I'm interested in doing sales. So hopefully within the next few weeks, I can transition over or do both and be of help in that regard. So we'll see.
Thank you so much. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you may be wondering, like, dang, she looks so fine. How does she look? You know, how do I get my good looks or my gift for gab? That's my mother right there, actually. So I mean, that's, you know, you probably feel, oh, there it is. So if you're not looking on Instagram, you can only see me. You're welcome. No, okay, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. But nah, you guys go check it out on YouTube. We'd love for you to subscribe. Chippy, stop it, boy. We live. My dog up here chewing on. Get off of that. Jesus Christ. But regardless, we'd love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. Like I said, we do this live, raw. My doggy Chippy's not going to introduce himself. We about to get in trouble, get kicked out. But yeah, sort of, I went through the almost like a backwards phase of how our team runs with my mom as like the inbound caller, receiving the calls that we get coming in. Talima generating the leads primarily through driving for dollars. Great list. She described it very well. Quentin qualifying the leads. And then we're missing Rachel up here, who's like our lead manager, who helps make sure that she, you know, ranks the leads and put them in front of Brian or me. And Brian nurtures them with follow up. And I do the same. And but I more so try to catch them when they're like 60 to 30 days ready to go. Oh yeah, we're missing my business partner, the Dispo Queen, Shanita, who once we get them locked up, then it's time to get them out to the buyers so that we can, you know, provide that opportunity. So today, what we're talking about, let's see if I got my stuff in here. We're going to talk about, I'm going to share my screen. No, I'll share that. See you all there. The whole team was given the book from Steve Train. I just had it in my hand. If y'all got it, if y'all have it on with you, Active Listening 2.0. I just never had it. She usually has some books on. They're gonna read it. I mean, y'all have the book Active Listening 2.0, right? Well, it's called Active Listening 2.0. Everybody on our team has it, and we're looking over it because it is a great tool from Steve Train, one of the best sales trainers out there for speaking to sellers, and it helps us go through the process of you know, training. Oh, here it is, right in my face, right here. Active Listening 2.0, Steve Train. You should check it out. I don't have any affiliation with Steve. He will know us eventually. He does like my stuff on Instagram sometimes, but I'm pretty sure it's one of his workers that he got a system for that. But regardless, awesome guy. Check him out. Great resource. So yeah, today we're actually looking at and thinking about in our sales process, how do we uncover pain and motivation? What's the point of that? Why are we doing that? And why it's so important? Yep. So let's go to it right here. All right. So buying and selling property is an emotional process, right? I want you all to think back to a time, and I'm gonna share a little story. You got a little picture of them, right? Of like a case in point of why buying and selling is emotional. Quite often we think as humans that we're very rational and that we're very logical and that we use logic to make decisions. And there is an aspect of the decision making that can get to the, you know, logical space, but literally almost all of our decisions are made from an emotional space, from our subconscious conditioning. So that right there is me back in 2016 in front of my Dodge Challenger 2009. And it was around November. My prior car just was damaged. My car, I just had issues with my car. And for a long time growing up, and my mom can attest to this, I was a huge Dukes of Hazzard fan. Growing up in Decatur, Alabama, the Dukes of Hazzard was this old TV show that was about late 70s, the Duke boys, the Duke cousins. And it's funny because it's layered with tons of like symbology that's connected to the Confederate flag, connected to good old boys, had a Confederate flag on top of the car. But it was one of the most highest ranked shows throughout TV, but especially among Black folks, particularly Black folks in the South. And every Friday and Saturday, we used to watch the Dukes of Hazzard. I had everything Dukes of Hazzard. My feet are messed up because I used to wear boots because I wanted to be like Bo and Luke for so long that I didn't let my mama throw out my shoes for a long time. And I feel like that's one of the reasons my feet are so sore today. But regardless, when I went to make a reasonable decision to go and buy just a reasonable car that I could, afford, that was going to, get me from point A to point B, because I'm a reasonable guy, I walk into a lot, and boy, do I not see this plum purple car. I'm laughing because Brian just put into the chat that looks like Kappa style, and I'm a member of Mega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Purple and gold, royal purple and gold is our colors. So I get ragged all the time because everybody's like, yo, that's red. As a matter of fact, I remember Shanita and them were laughing at me because they kept on saying it's red. And I was like, nah, that's plum purple. They're like, nah, bro, that's red. I was like, it's plum purple. But but it is what it is. I like what I like. And at least I thought I was controlling my own mind. But I tell you what, when I put that money down and I walked out of that car, you can see my face right there. I took a picture, but that's a halfway smile because I halfway felt like, oh my gosh, why did I just buy this car, this daggone magnet for police, and what I was supposed to buy a used car that was not going to give me any monthly fees or anything like that. But I was sitting there, the way the salesman and saw me looking at it, say, hey, well, why don't you just test it out? Why don't you drive it? And asking me questions about like, why did I look at this car? And I start telling the story of the Dukes of Hazzard, all that stuff. And so he just really helped me connect to why I wanted this car. And obviously I walked away with it, and I still have it now, but I do recognize that it was an emotional decision right there. And I wonder, do any of y'all have a buy or a time that you all bought something that I'm not saying you regret it, but it definitely was built off emotions? Can you think back? If you're willing to share it, please. If you listen on IG, you can drop it in the chat, or I might have to call on somebody.
Well, I will go ahead and take the lead. I bought Courtney is his mother's son, and I have similar story to doing just that, purchasing a car. And what I did, I had buyer's remorse because it was like, clearly it wasn't a great time for me to do it, and it wasn't feasible. So yeah, I do recall, but all I could focus on was the fact that it was a new car, and it was going to be reliable transportation. Never mind it wasn't really fitting my budget.
And you hear that we make decisions emotionally, and then we rationalize whatever that decision is with our minds. Okay, I could take on another $250, $300 payment. That's the same as well, what I've been doing. If I cut this out, or I need somewhere to drive, I need somewhere to go. And so, and marketers know this. I mean, that is why you go into like malls back in the day when there were a lot of malls, they have no clocks. Or if you go to again, and the smell is literally set up to make you feel good. The symmetry, the lines, any type of marketing, you're bombarded with fascination, shock, awe, because it's pushing past your inductive reasoning in your brain and going straight to your subconscious. That's, for example, in movies, they do it all the time when they're movies. They get fear, someone's about to come and kill or shoot someone, then all of a sudden, boom, goes to a commercial, there's a car there. Or even in the movie, they'll switch to a car, especially if they have connections through advertising. And then you wonder why you're at the dealership again, the next eventually. They do this over and over and over again. And I'm not suggesting that we try to use like hypnosis or suggestion or anything like that to that point, but we have to understand how we buy and how buying is an emotional process so that we can understand our sellers. And at this point, when we're talking about buying, we're talking about sellers, right? Sellers are really buying us the opportunity to help them out or to, buy their property. So I'm gonna show the next screen here. Where did it go? All right. What's up, the Bird Princess? What's up, Philip Banks Photography? Yeah, you can also check it out on YouTube Live. You can see or check out the replay so you can see some of the slides that we have here. But when you're seeking the pain, that's part of the process. We really need to think about ourselves as like the physicians, the doctor and the nurse, or a consultant, or even a coach or a personal trainer. Like imagine if you went to the doctor or the nurse and they did not, maybe I go to the doctor or nurse and I have a broken arm or some ailment and I'm trying to convince myself that it's not her. I hate going to the doctor and nurse, and I'll sometimes try to convince myself that or the doctor that that is not an issue. I literally remember growing up, I did not want to wear glasses, but around 4th or 5th grade, my eyes just kept being strained. So when I would go to the doctors, they would go out, I would run close up to the eye, the little big E at the top, and I would try to memorize all the lines so that when they would come back in, they would ask me. But of course, the doctor being smart, or the nurse or whoever was tending to me, they wouldn't just like ask me one time about the lines. They would ask me several times, or have several tests, or have several things that we go through to find out what the real issue is, and find out that, oh yeah, actually, boy, you need some glasses, put them things on, If you go to a coach or a personal trainer and they're not pushing you to help you recognize, based on what you want and what you need, where areas you need to grow, you're not going to grow. So how do we do this? Like, I'd love to hear, Brian, you've been talking to a lot of folks on the phone. What are some ways that you've been able to seek and draw the pain in a tactful way that's going to be received by your sellers you speak to?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is just asking questions and actively listening. Like, if you think, going back to that same analogy, it would be really weird if you went to the doctor and they just told you what was wrong with you, or they just told you how they were going to solve your problem without asking your question, right, or without getting your height, or without getting your weight, or without asking about your symptoms. And so really, I mean, that's the same thing that we're doing. We are trying to ask questions. We are trying to, run our test to figure out where your pain is and figure out what solution, what prescription we have to fill that need. And so, when you don't come in with this preconceived notion of what's the matter or how you're going to solve it, and you're listening actively, I think that is how you get down to the root cause and solve the problem.
Absolutely. I love that you said not coming in with any assumptions, almost like that old school Columbo, don't make any assumptions. Q and I were talking about that last week when we were talking about addressing every seller as if, it's our first time, as if they're the only person we spoke to. Don't let the last 10 conversations with past sellers, or even the last 10 conversations with that same seller, help you make, assumptions about that day, because everybody's changed, everybody's different. And I really love that analogy too. And those are reasons why in those spaces that they are walking you through your temperature, taking your height, your weight, all the different types of stuff, because precisely what you said, man. I appreciate that. Let's see. So what does this actually look like? How, or not look like, but how? Hell, that was like a lot of stuff you already said, Brian, but active listening, asking quality questions. Now, this is important, you all. We're asking questions quite often, even though we're saying don't make assumptions. You don't want to necessarily ask questions that you're not prepared for the answer, So if you're not prepared to go down a certain route or talk about a certain thing or hear a certain thing, then be careful with the questions you ask. But asking quality questions are often open-ended questions. When you set the stage, you let them know, hey, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Well, this is what this is going to look like. That's setting the stage or setting the rules. Another way we've said that. Another very important thing to do is to be prepared to lean into the discomfort. when you're a doctor or a nurse or a coach, you can't just shy away from what real issues are there. But through building that next bullet, building that trust and rapport, you are granted the opportunity and the gift to be able to ask the tough question. So if you hear someone saying that, hey, they have a tenant in there, but they haven't paid in a couple of weeks and stuff, or they have their daughter, literally what I have here, a son and an uncle are in a property that a woman has, and she really wants them to move out. And I'm like, well, do you mind if I ask you, Miss Seller, what does that feel like? Or that sounds tough. How are you going to move them out if they're your family? But what if they say no? And having her reveal, like, yeah, that's the tough part. It's really challenging. I think I'm being taken advantage of by my brother, even though my son's my son, but I think I'm being taken advantage of. And asking what that feels like. That could be uncomfortable, talking to basically a stranger you just spoke to, you only talked to 3 or 4 times. But because of the tone and because of the building of rapport, you're able to you give yourself the seller gives you the gift to ask that. And like I think back to like my teachers, like some of my best teachers were the ones who were super tough, but I knew they loved me, that warm demander. They weren't just sentimental and just let me do whatever. They weren't just tough and didn't show they cared. But Mr. Q Blank, he cared about us. And man, my grades used to be so low in calculus class. We used to, me and my boy Cameron used to pretend like our score was building a all-star team. They're like, what'd you get? I got a Larry Bird, 33. What'd you get? I got Jordan, 23. We're like jersey numbers. Thank goodness we had a curve. But man, when I went to Carolina, I was super prepared for math. It was so easy because of Mr. Q Blank not letting us just sit there and just go through it, but really making us have to deal with the tough, difficult challenges of learning the concepts and really learning the concepts. And I remember and I respect Mr. Q Blank. So when you are building that rapport with your sellers and you are asking those tough questions and building that rapport, you are going to be respected more than somebody who's like, oh, okay, that's either not leaning into it or just trying to offer solutions without truly listening. I know Talima and my mom are just new to. I'm so excited about my mom jumping on the calls and Talima next week jumping on the calls. But Q, have we talked about emotional labeling or emotional mislabeling with you yet?
I don't think so, no.
I don't think so either. But it is another way. What would you imagine that is? Putting you on the spot, bro. This is a sharp brother, though. What would you imagine emotional labeling is when you're talking to a seller when it comes to active listening?
Just trying to so when you're listening to them and then you're listening to the tone and stuff like that, and then you just try to guess what their emotion is just based off that instead of asking them how you feel, this, that, and the third.
Absolutely. Asking them how they feel is very effective, but also labeling literally their emotion. Oh, it sounds like that's frustrating. And sometimes you can just use the words they use. Like I literally do that. Somebody's like, man, like Brian yesterday. I don't know if you caught it, but homeboy was like, man, it's the brother who was, I forgot the term he used, but he was talking about he was wasting his money, spinning his wheels, and it's just frustrating. And I just like a couple of moments later, it sounds like it's frustrating. I'm like, yeah, man, And they're not going to think that you're just mimicking them, but you are literally affirming and hearing what they're saying. That sounds tough. So you're labeling their emotions and you just say it and literally people will just start vomiting thoughts and emotions and ideas because people want to be heard and want to know they're being heard. And so instead of always having to ask the open-ended question, which is a great strategy, you can also label the emotions you hear. And you can also label the emotions in another way, mislabel on purpose so that, if you hear it sounds like it's frustrating, like, oh, well, it sounds like you guys are doing good with that. Or it sounds like this is working well for you. No, man, he's not, heck no. I'm trying to get him, get him out of there and stuff like that at all. Oh, it sounds like you got a good thing going, Oh, it sounds like a good property. Seems like you're going to be, set up pretty good over there, So emotional mislabeling is also another way to help basically that last thing, digging deeper, asking that second question, that third question, digging in. All right, let me show you. So this is something that Talima and my mom will be reviewing. We are constantly reviewing also with the team, but this is like straight up from the Sandler's sales strategy. I forget his first name, but Sandler is a guru in sales and really disrupted the way sales had been done to really make it a little more effective. And these 7 steps can happen through a timeline on one chat, or it can happen over several conversations, or they can happen in cycles, but really you're trying to get people to and through the next step so that you can get to a handoff or a close. And we're really looking at the 3rd or 4th step here. Seek the pain, impact the pain. All right. So you might be asking, what does this look like? What does uncovering pain look and sound like? And so here's just a couple of, or more than a couple, but phrases, things that you may hear in conversations that you even just having outside of sellers that are very impactful, effective. The setting the stage and really asking, hey, can I, John, can I ask you an uncomfortable question? That gives you the permission to, ask the uncomfortable question. Or the labeling, wait, I'm sorry, and this is kind of, I feel like mislabeling. I'm sorry, it sounds like you're, or is it labeling particularly? Oh, it sounds like yesterday, it sounds like you're not interested in selling, but so should we be having a conversation here, Or really powerful. So how is that affecting you, Or the throwaway mixed with the pain. Why don't you go ahead and list it with the realtor? Well, I don't want realtors to get into my house. I don't want to have to fix things up. Or why not fix it up yourself? Or I don't trust contractors, or this is the reason, or maybe, whatever it is. Or just literally straight up asking, what's your biggest problem at this time? What is the biggest challenge at this time? Or really awesome is using 3rd person stories to illustrate something that happened there. So, well, seller, do you mind if I share a story? Well, quite often when I when I talk to a seller, or if someone was in a situation, or not quite often, well, I was in a situation with Mr. CNC. He looked like he was ready to sell. We had everything lined up. We were agreeing to terms. But when I went out there, he went cold and ghost on me. And come to find out a couple weeks later that he hadn't actually spoke to everybody involved. This wouldn't be a situation like this, would it? Or maybe there's no one else you want to talk to, or you sure shouldn't talk to your sister, or perhaps we should get them on the phone because tomorrow at blah, blah, blah work, so you're really use a genuine story. Don't make up stories, but you can use genuine stories to illustrate or pull out the pain. I do want to reveal one last thing before I get you all's thoughts, and let's try to do at least one role play before I let you get, before we get out of here. But one other thing though, this is very, very important, is remember to avoid trying to sweep in and offer solutions until the pain is adequately revealed, and particularly until the pain and impact of the pain is revealed and that trust is established. So, oh man, my tenant's not paying. Oh, we can take that. We can take that tenant. We take people with tenants who aren't paying. Or, oh man, my roof is messed up. Oh, we take stuff as is. Nah, we got, people need to be listened to. They need to be heard. They need to have the impact of the pain pulled out and felt. And in fact, if we try to, like they say, spill all our candy in the lobby, we don't have any other thing to reveal once we get up to the room and able to really, like, I'm gonna stop with that metaphor because I don't know how far it's gonna go there. But regardless, we have to remember that we have to build trust. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So we're not trying to, that takes some discipline to not offer solutions immediately. Like, you can think about when you're talking to some of your friends out there and you're telling them about some situation and they're like, oh man, you can just do this, or oh, we can just do that, or here, it doesn't really sound like you're being listened to. And that's what we want. We want to be able to listen. Now we're listening not to the point of just having people talk to us. We still have to be able to direct the conversation and move forward. Because we are going to run to some sellers who just enjoy talking on the phone, or those people who love going to the doctor to get that attention and stuff like that. So that's a whole, I wouldn't say a whole other conversation because it still could be wrapped in this, but there are ways by setting the stage or setting the expectations that you can help them come with a decision. One of the best things to say, okay, well, it sounds like we've been sitting this for a while. What is the next step for you? Sounds like you really need to talk to your brother and your son. What does that look like for you? What is the next step? What do you need to do to be able to make that happen? Well, I guess I need, and you're really helping them understand and decide what they need to do. So we're like counselors, we're like consultants, physicians and doctors. What is up, Eden? How's it going? Yeah, hey, I love when you jump up here regardless. It's 2 seconds, 20 minutes, and I really appreciate it. Heck yeah. So I would love to get you all's thoughts. When we talk about uncovering pain, uncovering motivation, what does this feel like for you? Any questions you have or yeah, thoughts? Let's start with Q. What are some of the thoughts you're thinking about, especially since you've been the last couple of weeks talking to these sellers?
I got cut out a little bit in the middle of it, but I think I got the gist of it. Yeah, with uncovering pain, I feel like that's, like you said, is probably the most important part of the entire process, because that's where we're going to put most of our focus on solving their pain. And it's less about, again, making money and stuff like that. We're trying to solve their problems. And if we come in with that mindset, and if we can, use our intuition, our keys, our scripts, and all that type of stuff to do what we're supposed to do with that, I mean, we're going to get as far as we want to in this industry. So,
way to connect it back to the go-giver. I like that. All right. Heck yeah. Appreciate it. What about you, Talima? How's this coming across to you? What are you feeling hearing this information or in this way?
Yeah, I agree with everything. Like, now that I'm like thinking back at like how like someone has like sold something to me and I bought it, it's usually like through like connection or like emotional connection. And like they ask me questions because like I feel like people like talking about themselves and like the stories they have. So yeah.
Appreciate that. Look forward to you getting on the phone. What about you, Mrs. Rollins, Miss Cleo? What are you thinking, Mama?
In regards to the, being a good listing in terms of, what was that, I wish you put it back up there.
Oh, mislabeling?
Yeah. I just know it's important to definitely not give anyone any false hopes. I want to always be able to, at that point, if we're talking like that, just have a trust issue built, and as hard as it might be, as the saying goes, sometimes telling the truth hurts, but I don't want to be in a position where I'm just saying something just to amuse them.
Right.
Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, can we do? Be real mindful of what you say, because your word goes a long way.
Absolutely, and I've found that honestly hitting them in the teeth, honestly, like, hey, well, we're actually not going to be the highest seller or highest price, probably. Those type of things help the seller really breeds trust, because you don't have that sleazy deal breath or like, hey, I'll say whatever I need to say that you need to hear.
Yeah.
It's really coming from the truth, and we try to lead with integrity. So I appreciate that. What about you, Brian? What are you thinking, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think we hit on a lot of the bigger points. I think that doctor analogy is just such a great one, because like, even when you were talking before about, kind of being a complete stranger, I think sometimes some of these things are easier to talk to somebody that you don't know. Like, I think there's a lot of things that are taboo that we're not going to talk to our friend and family about. But if you're talking to somebody you don't know, talking about, finances or the dynamics of the family member that's living in the house, your health, I think some of those things are sometimes easier.
That's a great point. Well, it reminds me of what in the book Steve talks about when you go to McDonald's or somewhere and they're like, do you want fries with that, or do you want to be supersized? Oh gosh, it scared me. I thought somebody came in my back door. I'm like, who the heck is behind me? What's up, Pops?
All right.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing fine, man.
Hey, y'all say what's up to my dad. If y'all need to come check it out on YouTube, we up here live. Yeah.
Ball game.
Try to get your woman right. She gonna help us. She already doing a great job there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You scared me, Courtney. I was
I
afraid.
know.
I said, excuse me a moment.
All right. But as I was saying though, what I really appreciate about what you just said, Brian, is that like, yeah, like the analogy of going to McDonald's and asking the question. We got to have compassion, but don't be afraid to ask the question. Don't be afraid to ask the tough question. And remember, we're not trying to just give a solution quick off the bat, but there's nothing wrong with asking, well, would you consider, is that the best you can do? Or would you take this? Or how did you come up with that offer, if you don't mind me asking? Or how do you plan on selling that if it's has no roof on it or has tax liens or asking the uncomfortable question. You have to be, if it's not asked, it won't be answered. And having having the more we do it, the more comfortable we'll get, being comfortable in discomfort. I appreciate it. Yeah. So let's do a role play so that Talima, and maybe if my mama come back, she can hear. But I would love for Q and Brian to do a role play for us, and we'll let either of you decide who. Matter of fact, Quentin, can you be the seller and Brian be the buyer? And I'm gonna stop it in about, I'm not gonna let it go past 4 minutes. But Q, just think about some of the sellers that you come across and think about some of your pain that you may have. And you don't have to necessarily reveal it at the beginning, but Brian will help uncover it. But just think about some of the conversations you had. All right. And you just, Brian, when you can, ring them in and jump in if you don't mind.
Ring, ring. You're muted.
Hello.
Hey, Quentin, this is Brian calling from Aqua Team Properties. I'm reaching out about your house over on Main Street. I know it's a bit out the blue, but I wanted to see if you would consider an offer. Did I catch you at a bad time?
Can you say that again? Can you slow down just a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Brian, and I'm actually calling from Aqua Team Properties. We're some local home buyers in the area, and I just wanted to see if you would consider an offer for your house over on Main Street.
Okay, sweetie. I don't think that. Actually, it might be under. It might be for sale. I gotta ask my husband.
Oh, okay. Is he available? Is there a better time for me to give you guys a call back?
My husband's at work right now, but I can talk a little bit to you about the property if you want me to.
Yeah, fantastic. I'll ask you a couple of questions, and then if we need to find a time to circle back with your husband, we can definitely do that. And
Okay.
Fantastic. So let me ask, have you done any upgrades or renovations to the property in the last 5 years?
Past 5 years? No. I think the last time we renovated was about 15 years ago.
Okay. And what did you guys do then?
I think we fixed the roof. I can't exactly remember, old age, but yeah, I think we fixed the roof back then.
Oh, okay. And it sounds like you guys are just renting this property out now?
Well, we moved out. And we've been letting our son live there for the past couple months, but I think he's ready to move out on his own and do his own thing. So it might be time to sell, but like I said, I would have to talk to my husband about that one.
Oh, okay. That sounds exciting. Where's your son gonna head out to?
Well, he just got himself a new girlfriend and all that. So I hope for the best. I don't think he's moving in with her, but I think he's moving closer to her.
Oh,
But yeah.
And so after he moves out, are you looking to rent out the property and become a landlord?
Can you repeat that, please?
So after your son moves out, were you looking to become a landlord and start renting that property out?
My husband was thinking about doing some renovations and maybe putting it up himself or maybe renting it out. But he's getting old. I don't really want him doing all that. So
Okay.
we supposed to have some talks about that, but it is, I think it's all up on the table though at the moment.
Okay. Is your husband a contractor?
He used to be. He stopped taking contracts about five years ago now.
Yeah. Okay. And it sounds like you don't really want him going to work himself anymore because of his age.
Not really. Yeah, I mean it's about time for him to just sit down and just relax. It's been working contracts for about 40 years
Oh
almost
wow.
now. So
Yeah, it
yeah, and he
sounds
just
like you
stopped
guys
five
deserve
years
some
ago.
rest. Absolutely. Well, I'd love to tell you a little bit about how we work. You know, what we do is we buy and purchase properties from people like yourself that are maybe in a situation where they're maybe don't want to be a landlord anymore, don't want to have to deal with the upgrades. And so we purchase all of those properties as they are. So your husband wouldn't be required to do any of the maintenance or upgrades that you were talking about before.
Okay, okay. I do think, now that I remember, I think we do have a reverse mortgage out on the house.
Oh, okay.
I do think we have one. Is that going to be a problem?
So the reverse mortgage, you think that's on your primary house that you're in now, or you think it's on the house
It's
that your son is in?
I'm pretty sure it's on the house that my son is in. I think we've been paying it off for a while. It's pretty much fully paid off at this point. But yeah, I do think that it still is on the house.
Okay. Do you know if it's a reverse mortgage or if it's a home equity line?
Um, I'm pretty sure it's a reverse mortgage, but it might be a
Okay.
home equity loan.
Okay. Well, like you said, we can check the details out, and regardless, we can figure out what options we do have. So it sounds like that once your son does move out, it would probably be the time that you would be looking to sell. And I know that you need to check with your husband to make sure, you know, the details and bring him in on the conversation. But is there anything else that you would like to make sure is done or would be stopping you after your son has left?
Um, no, it's just me and my husband and the one kid. So after he moves out, I mean, we don't really have to worry about anybody but ourselves. So
I'm gonna pause
um,
right there. Oh man, it's getting so close to the. Oh, that was awesome, awesome. Boy, Q, you did that go Oscar, man. All right, I see you.
I combined a couple of people there because I think the reverse mortgage lady, I had her yesterday, and
Yeah,
yeah, she jumped off and straight said she had a double reverse mortgage. And
yeah.
then I think one of them was the LLC that I did the other day too. But yeah, bunch of combined little things.
I
But
have some.
he handled it really well though. I will say
Right.
that Brian handled that perfectly actually.
Well, yeah, please share some of your thoughts. Give me some concrete before I share some some notes.
I mean, just a couple like just again like when I like at the beginning when as soon as I asked him to repeat it a little slower, he kind of changed his tone up. He adjusted very quickly on that, and
Absolutely.
yeah, I that was great right there. And then as he kept going along, you know, he kept in mind that same tone of like, this is an older lady. I'm gonna need to drag her along a little bit. I'm gonna need to explain myself a little bit more, but let's not make that into me talking all the time. I still gotta
Right.
ask my questions. Still got. He did a great job with that, and yeah, I feel like that's probably one of the toughest things to do,
Yeah.
and he executed it really well.
Yeah, I really appreciate how you like immediately slowed down. You threw him for a little loop there too, man. I tell you, he's got good acting skills right there. And yeah, bro, I really appreciate this the slowdown and didn't sound patronizing or condescending at all either. It sounded like, hey, well, I'm gonna talk your tone. And really, we are supposed to talk at the seller's tone. If they're a little hype, we're gonna be a little hype. If they talk a little slow, we're gonna talk a little slow because again, our brains are geared towards finding likeness. You know, that's a part of rapport building. So you still gotta be authentic with your voice, Talima and Mom, but when you start talking to folks, match their tone of the way they're, the pace that they're talking and all. Man, you did so much labeling in such an authentic, awesome way. How many times y'all hear him say sounds like, well, it seems like, it sounds like. I mean, you were doing that throughout, and it was like literally active stuff he was listening to. Like you pulled out a pain point that I guess I wasn't listening as well as I should have when and great job throwing it to him too, Q, as far as his husband wanting to like get off, you know, make sure that he's done and retired and all. That was just so, I thought, well done. And well done of like, yo, do we even need to talk? Because when Q was like, yeah, you know, I got to side with my husband and all, you know, that was really, really a good way to clarify and ask him like, well, let me go ahead and get this information while I can, because I'm definitely gonna have to call back and talk, but the more information I have, the more I'm gonna be. Then my last thing I really have is like reverse mortgages are challenging to me. It does sound like you have a little experience in it. Those one of those places where like making sure that you ask questions that you are like, can you take over a reverse mortgage? Like I had to look that up when I was faced with that before, but I love how you immediately reverse the reverse mortgage question with the question. So whoever's asking the questions is usually controlling the conversation, and talking the less is usually controlling the conversation. So you went back and straight up asked the character, asked Q's character, well, is it a reverse mortgage that you have on there? Or are you talking about this one or that one? And just kept on asking questions to get back and pacing and control of the conversation, and you know, getting more of what is the issue so you can figure out what tools we might have to help. How'd you feel, man? What were you thinking?
You know, I think I spend most of my time talking to older people, so I just had to close my eyes and stop looking at ASAP over there, and then it was just like talking to any of my other clients. Like, you know, I very much just got in that role, and I think that I think the reason why I was mindful about what I'm about to say she said, what the character, what she, the character, said about her husband, is because, and that's the real reason I stuck on the phone, is because hopefully there is something that I'm going to get out of this conversation that I'm going to be able to use in the next conversation, whether it's to throw back the rapport that I built, or to keep tugging at that string that is the pain point, that we don't want him working. We don't want to become a landlord and have to do it all again that he had been doing for the last 40 years.
And you notice those pronouns? We. Brian's on shoulder to shoulder. We're on the same side as our seller. We're not across the table, you know, us against them. It's we. So how are we gonna figure this? How are we gonna make sure that he's all right and he doesn't, you know, get him to rest and chill out and not be doing stuff he don't need to do? That's just really good stuff to pick up on and develop. That's why we role play. We learn from each other, still sharp and still. I love Talima or Mom. Do y'all have any thoughts of what you heard? What did you appreciate and enjoy about it, or even critiques or things that you would add?
I like the flow. It was very like natural. Like it wasn't like forced or like reading off the script. It was very like casual, but also like getting to the point. Absolutely.
And you will see once you read the script even more that he actually did. The script is set to give us the launching pad. So like it was almost verbatim the first 3 or 4 or 5 questions. And then of course it went into the art of listening. And it sounded so natural. I appreciate you picking that up. What about you, Mom? What did you, any feedback or pointers or things you heard that was? And you have to unmute yourself. And you gotta unmute yourself, Mama.
I can't hear my praise. You gotta unmute yourself. I can't hear it. Or my critique, maybe I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Unmute yourself, Mama. Nobody can hear you, Bob. You gotta unmute yourself. She's still talking.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
It was a great role play, but we're gonna have to come up with another word other than old. Okay. When we're referring to people, that's just my critique. I'm not gonna hold back on that one because I'm in the age. You know, so we gotta come up with another word.
I appreciate that.
yeah, but I followed it well, and I was like, okay. And I appreciated the response that the character gave to Brian, and Quinn was right on it. You know, he didn't well, you know, neither one of them, but more importantly, that phrasing of seems like, or maybe the word seems like, or what are you thinking? What are you all thinking about? Whatever, you know. I think the phrasing was great.
Yes, appreciate that. Thank you for that.
But we're gonna have to come up with. I'm being silly now, but when it comes to talking about people who are older, seasoned.
I'm more senior, Clem. I'm more
Yeah.
mature.
See, I hear you.
Hey, no, Brian, more seasoned.
Well, we'll take that in.
Huh?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just laughing with Brian. Brian said more mature and senior and all that. No, we don't even go for that. We got some good labeling going on there. I had to check with my AARP link and see what some of the new labelings are.
We'll trade on that. We'll trade on that. Definitely appreciate that. I appreciate all of y'all. This is so fun growing and getting better at communicating with folks, because even when we get off the phone, it really helps, I feel like, in life. Like we said the other day, like these goals that we have is not just like you alluded to, it's not just about the money. It's not about the money, really. It's about the people we're able to become and the people we're able to connect with to achieve those goals. And that's a blessing. That's an awesome thing. All right, folks. Well, I'm about to wrap it up on IG over here and on YouTube. So
can I share on my board that
yeah.
Use for my motivation. I don't know how to flip it around. You guys know I'm barely getting on here and unmute and mute myself.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Can you see it? About me, what do you call it? Drive wall. Can you see it? Yeah. But anyway, I put the goal.
90,000 profit by July 1st, quarterly goal. Heck yes, I'm talking about what is measured is growth and what you put your attention towards, energy flows.
Yeah, so I'm really inspired. I'm looking to learn a lot of things from you guys. So you all be ready, be prepared to be my teacher, and so we can put Aqua Team on the map.
Hey man, that teamwork made a dream work. I appreciate that, Mama, and appreciate all of y'all. I'm about to actually get off for a split second, take a little bite of this bad stromboli food for me, and I'm gonna jump right back on IG, YouTube. I'm gonna jump back on as well and make these calls. I'll see you all later on tonight. We got a little bit of, I think 8 o'clock. We're trying to do a little, I don't even know how to, I gotta get the link again, but we're gonna do some game show team building for a little bit tonight. I'm gonna try not to fall asleep because, you know, I'm up at 4 a.m. every morning, but it's still gonna be a lot of fun for a split second. So we're back on this link. That'll be a private event, private affair. But other than that, hope to see you all soon. Thanks for joining in. Go to atwholesaledeals.com if you want to partner with us. If you want to sell a property, put us in DM us, or atbuyhomes.org. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. Yeah, appreciate you all. And I'll see y'all next time. Rising tides and this.